I do like that they kept the motorbikes. It's weird seeing Canute older, isn't it? He's got his scar still, of course, a big focus on that he got. But the beard, seeing him without his baby face is just weird. Also, be sure to check out the Patreon page where you can find next week's episode. Right now, you can also find polls to vote for what's next, a full-length version of this, and soon some exclusive Ghibli reactions. Grave of the Fireflies and Kiki's Delivery Service will be first. Starting today, your friends. What you been up to, Thorfinn? So they're just cutting the whole thing down. We have seen Aina, he's used axes before. He'd used the axe last episode, cutting stuff down. Oh, reap the harvest and buy it. So he does have some fairness to him. Buy back your freedom. So he's a good one, as good as you can be as an owner like that. 3 years, not bad. How long has Thorfinn been here? Like, is he close to buying himself out? See, he became a free man and decided to even stay. Was that good here, I imagine? He's still around. Yeah, not much for conversation, of course. Still the same in a way. He has been to Northern England. Yeah, there's loads to do then, isn't there? I guess you can start to clear, and also the bit you have cleared start growing on, so you're eventually just doing both. You're growing and clearing at the same time. I thought he was good at cutting down trees. Didn't we see him with an axe before? He got a system going. Okay, thinking it through. Is there lunch? Oh, was he eating their lunch? Yeah, the main owner might be nice, but the rest don't have to be. They might be showing their power, intimidating at first, to put him in his place as well. He's too naive, yeah. I feel like old Thorfinn wouldn't have let this slide, but now he just gets on with it, doesn't fight. Yeah, just abusing their power. I always hate people who are like on a power trip. Yeah, look at that Thorfinn being the one to diffuse the situation. That's so new. Yeah, you just kind of have to get on with it, even if it say it can't be done is super difficult. You just have to, don't you? He is strong, isn't he? It's just going to be like this day in doubt for years, isn't it? They're technically, yeah, they're not really free men. Or they're hired, aren't they? Look at this backdrop though. It's gorgeous. He's just lost all passion for anything, hasn't he? Yeah, just cause even more hassle. Yeah, there's just nothing in his eyes, is there? Oh. Who's this? Is it the master's daughter? Distracted him completely. I thought he was seeing them, the retainers behind. Oh, she made eye contact. So he gets involved too, it looks like. He actually works himself. He's not just above everyone else. I mean, he is, but not enough above everyone to just not work. Oh, talking back. I'm guessing this is a free man though, so he can talk back. Yeah, he just wants to do it the lazy way. But it said if you want to lead, so he's going to lead one day. Master's son, so he will inherit it all eventually, yeah. Yeah, it might be bad if he takes over then. He won't be as nice. He wants a bit more from life. Can't even unsheath it, wow. A bit of a show off. Yeah, so like if the master does die somehow and Omar does take over, it could all flip on his head. How cushy of a situation it is at the moment. As much as it could be. Join Prince Sinut's army. He just doesn't have the skill though, does he? It's all for show. Oh. Oh, trying to get in. Trying to inherit everything, yeah. Oh, he figured it out. I thought she just said something out of line again. I mean, it seems like it would be a good thing if he doesn't inherit the farm. These are just two slaves. They called him master, aren't they? Being so informal with him. I'm surprised they're even allowed to get drunk and mess around like this. Making fun of him as well, to be that open. Thorfinn knows all about this. Yeah, I wonder if there will be some connection with Thorfinn being to the north of England before. Was he a part the first time? We only saw the second. Oh, the King of England soldiers. Pretending to, but he's contemplating everything. Of course, back to this, seeing him young again. Okay, so that was season 2, episode 2 of Vinland Saga. Learning a lot more about the operation here at Ketil's farm. The name was, you know, it's a relatively fair system Obviously, it's still slavery. No, slavery is justified, but it is a better system than it could have been otherwise. It's not the worst case scenario. Although, if Ulmer does manage to take over, it could turn into that. However, at the moment, there is some upside. There is like this path to freedom, this 3-year plan of cutting down the trees, planting your crops, selling the crops on to kind of buy your way out of it. It seems like the master, he is trying at least to help people out the best he can. If, say, you wanted to help people achieve freedom, but you didn't have the resources to just be able to buy them out entirely, you do what he does and buy them and help them earn that money back, basically. And once they've earned their worth, they can then leave, which obviously it is just still slavery, but there is a path out of it. There is something he is doing to help, and we see him there in the field as well, helping along, trying to prove that he is not above everyone else. He still is, but he's doing what he can to not kind of have that image. Then we're getting a bit more Thorfinn here. He just seems kind of depressed and done. He's got no passion anymore. He's gone from the only thing he wanted was to kill Askeladd, and now there's no chance of that. He's got nothing to live for. He's just doing his day-to-day life here. I can't remember, did we get like a time frame how long he's been here? Because if there was this like 3-year plan, I don't know if that's still 3 more years for Thorfinn because he's still doing all of this work, or has he been here 2 years and only has 1 year left potentially? I don't know how that works with the time frame here yet, but it might be that he's only just started here because he was here and we saw some of the trees that had been cut down, but there weren't many that had been cut down at this point, were there? So he might have only just started on that. So it is like 3 years time until they can face actual freedom, and so much can change in 3 years if something does happen to the master. I'm guessing the master's name is Ketil. It's Ketil's farm. If something does happen to him and Ulmer takes over, that doesn't seem like that will be good. And of course, just because Ketil is being nice doesn't mean everyone else is. The retainers are on a bit of a power trip. They're, assholes taking the food. And there's not really anything that Einar and Thorfinn can do. I feel like if Einar had reported it, the master would dislike that had happened and probably would try and do something. But of course, it would just have way more negative consequences for Einar and Thorfinn. Once the retainers had been punished, they'd return and just beat them up, and from then on maybe not give them food at all. You just kind of have to play with the hand you've been given here. But I did like Einar's observation of the retainers, how it might be like a tad bit of compensation, then compensating for, although being free, they're still working for Ketil. So they're like pseudo slaves in a way, whereas once Thorfinn and Ketil do buy their way out, they have the resources to have their own farm there, and they would be technically, in a way, more free than the retainers. Feels like a bit of a jab at capitalism in a way, almost. The workers are still somewhat pseudo slaves when you're relying completely on one person to feed you and to allow you to live. You are still a slave to that, and freelancing is the solution. Not really, but if it was like a little jab at kind of workers' rights in a way. And it is just like surprising how casual things are on the farm. Obviously we saw Ulmer running away there, and there's these 2 drunk guys who I am assuming were actually slaves, because they were talking about the retainers. I don't know, it seemed like they were, but even if they're not, the master's son should have more respect than that. But they're really open, just chatting to him, being drunk out like that. It's funny how casual things are. And of course, you don't want to forget the actual situation. Although things are nicer here than they would have been, they are still slaves. You know, it's still not great, but it's a better situation than if they were owned by someone else. It's not the worst case situation that it could be, but again, with Ulma, it could turn into that. We got a Prince Canute name drop here as well, with him wanting to join Canute's army. He just seems a bit naive. Same with Aina as well. They were just a bit naive to the world. He wants to join the army maybe for respect, but obviously he doesn't have the skill. He can't even unsheath his sword. You know, what do you expect? But it also seems like he has a bit of a laziness with how things would be run if he took over, because he's not doing the cutting of below the knee cutting properly, you know. It seems like he is someone who would be cutting corners and yeah, would eventually not be a good leader there at the farm like his father is. I'm imagining something like that will happen, because otherwise, you know, what is the story? Maybe there would be like a time skip 3 years into the future and then they're free, but I can't really see that happening. I feel like, yeah, Master's gonna die, Ulma will take over, and that's when kind of conflict starts to occur. You know, there not too much conflict in this episode. Where would the story go if that doesn't happen? It feels almost like an inevitability. Something has to go wrong, obviously. And of course, you know, we have Canute in the opening. I'm expecting Canute to be introduced here somehow. Maybe we will get Forkel, we will get Floki. I don't know how they can be introduced into this. Obviously, we know Leaf is looking for Thorfinn, so that could come into it as well. If Leaf managed to find Thorfinn, does that mean he's also traceable by Canute? Why would Canute be after him though? Not 100% sure there, but obviously I feel like Canute will start to get involved in the story somehow. So I'm quite excited to see just how everything starts to unfold here, what the sequence of events will be, how it all happens, you know. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and if you really loved it, be sure to subscribe so you can keep up to date on all the future episodes. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you later.